I've never made a manga before, but I wanted to. So tell me how a total beginner mangaka with zero completed projects under their names ends up in New York sitting across from Kodansha, one of the biggest manga Japanese publishing companies, getting their manga professionally edited. Let's talk about it. But first, hello my lovelies, my name is KantanKami. I'm a character designer, illustrator, and wannabe mangaka, and welcome back to my channel. Hi guys, I kind of missed you. It's been a while. Honestly, how are you? Me, I'm feeling I'm tired, bro. Like these past 2 months have been kind of crazy and my brain is kind of like it has a lot of brain fog right now. I just mentioned that I went to New York to get my manga professionally edited book by Kodansha. Specifically, I went to the Kodansha House. But I also in October, I had so many things going on. I had commissions in the beginning of the month. Then I had to prepare for that trip. And then I went to there. And after that, I had a merch drop for IdoCon. If you guys want to actually buy that, you can buy that and order it online. I did that with Ace anime collaboration experience. Yeah, anime collaboration experience. And yeah, we got together to release another merch drop for IdoCon. So I've been kind of running on a hamster wheel in October. I had so much to do in October, and then by November I low-key crashed. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like I got really tired. Like I don't know. Like have you guys ever experienced this where like you'll work really really hard for 1 month, and then all of a sudden the next month like you're crashing? For me, that like happened at least like 3 times this year alone, where I'll like push myself and then I'll like get really tired and really not okay. But yeah, like that was October. I had so much to do. And low-key I'm just recovering from it. I'm slowly getting back my health. I've been having a lot of fatigue lately. So let's talk about this manga thing because it's kind of crazy how this all started. But first, I kind of want to like talk about like why I started making manga or even had an interest in creating a manga in the first place. So as you know or you don't know, I grew up watching anime and manga. My first anime was Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Pokemon, yada yada yada. It's like the same thing that everyone grew up with, right? I was really inspired, but I didn't expect myself to become a mangaka. In fact, I used to draw animals for the beginning of my art career. Like I just drew exclusively animals. Like I didn't even draw humans. It is not until famous anime Naruto had ended that I even thought like, hey, maybe I should try drawing something but animals. And it was also just like the atmosphere at the time when Naruto ended was like such a big deal. Like I was super inspired by Masashi Kishimoto. I was like, oh my god, I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to make a manga like and then make people cry when it ends. So I kind of got like obsessed low key with not just like first of all, I got obsessed with like Naruto for some reason. I was on something, bro, back in 2014. Like I was literally like it it was a different time, bro, but like I was like reading everything about Naruto. I was like rereading series. I was obsessed. But eventually Naruto led me down into other phases. I had a yokai phase too. Like I was learning Japanese. I was learning about Japan because of Naruto. Like I don't know, I was crazy. But it led me down to like people trying to make manga, like the indie manga scene. I remember back in 2014, it was still kind of like bare and bones, kind of dry. You had people like White Manga, if everyone knows who White Manga is if you know the scene. But you also had people like Bang Studio. I think that dude stopped making videos. And you had like another, I remember she was a famous YouTuber and then all of a sudden she disappeared. But Sophie Chan, I remember she had like a manga that she was making, of course Mark Curley, all those people. And seeing those people make manga outside of Japan or sometimes in Japan, because Bang Studio used to interview people who were making manga in Japan and outside Japan, but they were foreigners. It made me be like, oh, I want to do this, right? But there was like one problem. I was still drawing animals during that time, and I was like, dude, I cannot sit down and draw like a manga with furries. I don't want to do that. So I dedicated the rest of my manga journey, and I think I've talked about this too in another video as well. I just felt like I had perfectionism, so I was like, I gotta focus on my human skills and learning to draw humans. So I walked away from that dream for years. Like I didn't look back, and I think I low-key kind of forgot about that dream until like 2022. I think that's what the year was, where all of a sudden it was okay. It wasn't just 2022. I moved the goalposts to, instead of trying to make manga, because I think I gave up on that for several reasons. I was like, I'm just gonna make webtoons, and I did make a webtoon that year, 2022, called Trust in the Lost Ones. But I don't know, I just kind of was like, I wasn't digging the webtoon format. And then all of a sudden, in the same year, what dropped was the Manga Plus Creators Program. If you guys know about that, it's a website where you can publish your indie manga and it gets ranked, and you have the opportunity to win some prize money. I was like, oh, okay, I see that Japanese publishers are starting to be interested in foreign mangaka, because why would they release a website like that? I think there was other things also that year where like indicating like something was going on in Japan, where all of a sudden they were looking to foreigners. I have some theories on that too. Like, I think maybe they're trying to compete with webtoon low-key, but I don't want to talk about that. So I was like, ooh, I started becoming more interested. I started like reading people's works, and then all of a sudden that dream that I had as a kid awoken in me again. So it wasn't until like 2 years afterwards that I even started to think about, okay, I'm gonna start making my own manga. So the year is 2024, and at this point, I started to become active in the indie manga scene. I started meeting different creators, and I'm like, all right, girl, we need a manga to our name. So I was like, I got this. This is gonna be easy. I had an idea way back in high school. I had a creative story assignment, and it was about this girl who, she woke up in the rain, or her boyfriend was missing, so she went to this local cafe, and yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it, but it stuck with me because the story had such a weird ending to it that I really loved, and I was like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna use that story and make a manga off of it. Like, we're gonna use that. So that story is currently what is called The Monster Within, and I was excited about starting it. I thought it was gonna be easy since I knew the beginning, I knew the qualities of the story, I knew like the beats of the story, but that turned out to be a year-long project, and I'm still not done with it. I still have not finished. Chapter 1 is not released yet, so it took longer than I expected it to, because I have a problem. It's called perfectionism, and I wrote like 3 drafts. Honestly, at this point, it might be 4 or 5. I don't know. We'll get into that later, though, but I have a problem, and it's called perfectionism. So that manga, which was supposed to be a test manga, by the way, it was just supposed to be a simple throwaway project, but like, if you guys watch the 2 other videos, you will start to notice a pattern. Kantan has a cool idea. Kantan thinks it's going to be so simple. Kantan realized, oh, this is taking longer. Kantan usually abandons it, but I held on strong with this project, and I still am. And you know, I gotta thank my mutuals, because they kind of kept me on top of that, and they kind of pushed me to finish the script. I don't even finish a manga yet. I still haven't even finished a manga yet. But the fact that like I was tested so much writing this manga, because for me, I don't know if you guys can relate, I'm an artist. You know, I have actually experienced making a lot of comics in my younger days, and no, I stopped making comics, I think, no, I still made comics when I was a teen, but I wouldn't say like my comics are professional. They're not like really well thought out. It was as a kid kind of like just rambling and writing a story, and like if I reread my comics now, they're kind of like super bad. But I have experience making comics, but I wouldn't call myself a comic creator. I would call myself an illustrator first. Well, not now, but you know, back then. And so I really wanted this manga script to be good, because I wanted it not to be like when I was a kid and just rambled a bunch of ideas into pages. I wanted it to be a story that meant something. So it took a long time for this script to be made, and I had to go through so many drafts. And also thank you to my editors, because I have a lot of editors that helped me, and beta readers who had helped me, give me suggestions. It's been a journey is what I'm trying to say. It's been a journey. Oh, how the hell did Kodansha House get involved in this? Okay, I just want to back up a little bit. I'm sorry, I already did that, but back in May, I had finally finished the full script to my manga. I said, no more. I said, Kantan, no more drafting or editing this shit. You just get it out, bro, because this is not even my magnum opus. Like, I have other stories I want to make, and this is just something to be like, hey guys, I did something, you know. But you know, I'm obsessed with trying to make this something deeper, right? I was like sitting on it. I had taken a break from it in June. I was like, I'm not looking at it. All of a sudden, one day, July 25th to be exact, I didn't go and see. I was on social media and I was scrolling and I saw Kodansha had posted something. It said, the Mochikomi portfolio review. You submit a one-shot manga manuscript for a once-in-a-lifetime chance to get a live feedback from Kodansha's editors in New York. I said, well, usually when these things happen, like these portfolio reviews, you need to like get like a full fucking manga. You need a whole manga you need to give to the editors and they see it. I think Viz has done that. But this is the first time that I seen the word manuscript. I said, wait a minute, hey, I finished the script back in May. Why not, bro? I'm at a point in life where I'm just like throwing shit out there and hoping, something sticks. So I was like, why not? If I don't get submitted, if I don't get accepted, it's whatever. If I do, I guess I can go to New York, right? But I wasn't like hoping and praying or anything. I kind of said, why not? Just give it, right? So because I didn't have like a one shot, like everyone, like a full drawn one shot, I had a manuscript. I said, okay, let's just make some test pages. So I made some test pages and then I had made a pitch deck for my manga because I was like, let's give them a sense of what the story is about, and let's show them how the art would look, and let's tell them what my inspiration or what I want the mood of the story to be. I said that. I said, okay, cool, right? I submitted that, and then I checked my email one day, and I was accepted. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, me? I was like, me? And the weird thing was that my heart dropped, everything. I stared at my screen for a bit, I was like, I had to tell people about this, I guess, because I forgot I mentioned, like, I had posted on my social media, I was like, guys, this is our chance, get in now, if you want to make a manga, this is your chance. Like, I was just promoting it, but I don't know, I just, like, it was a weird experience, I would say, because I was like, I would say I wasn't feeling happy about it. I didn't feel pretty much anything, really. I was just kind of like okay, I did actually. It's disbelief I felt more than anything. Like, oh. Like, I was just like, oh, okay. You have that feeling when you feel like you won the game too fast. I feel like that's what I was feeling in the moment. Like, it generally started to become a bother to me because I'll be honest, guys, even after that initial, like, reaction, I didn't have a sense of happiness throughout the entire thing. And I don't know what it was. I feel like my brain just, like, I literally remember, because after this, I had joined a Discord server with other participants, and some of my mutuals went, yay, that was awesome, right? Having people to talk to in between. And I remember telling them that, like, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I was saying that I feel like I've never imagined myself to be sitting down with Japanese publishers. Like, I had no interest in ever publishing in Japan, honestly. I have my reasons. But at the same time, this was like a childhood dream that I had as a kid. Like, I really wanted, like, to make a manga good. So it just felt like some legitimacy, like sitting down with Kodansha themselves and, getting your work edited. But my brain wasn't happy. It was just having a really hard time being happy for myself. So I literally started seeking it out in others. I feel like I was like telling people, oh yeah, I got accepted. And I don't think anyone really matched my excitement because I don't think anyone really knew how much I worked my ass off writing this damn manuscript. So I was looking for people to be happy so I can feel happy. And then on top of that, I wasn't feeling happy. It was a very confusing feeling. And I was a little sad about it. I had to hype myself up throughout the entire rest of the couple months down the line because I was like, girl, you worked your butt off. Think about all those moments that you sat down at the desk writing even though you didn't feel like it, all the times you do your rewrites, all that. That's not something you do. Like, I had to really hype myself up about this because my brain just didn't feel happy. And I don't know, it's not because I'm ungrateful about anything. I think, like I said, I have a problem being happy for myself when good things happen, I don't know if anyone relates to that, but I want to be honest about that because it was something that I struggled with and I was really trying to understand, like, girl, why can't you be happy? I went and did my self-therapy talk. I tried everything. But yeah, I want to talk about that because I think it's going to show up again, but I have a better reason why, like, that was happening during the time. So, mind you, I forgot to mention this, but yeah, this email was given in August. So by the time in between Mochikomi, we had an entire month to prepare stuff. And
I had a game plan. I was like, okay, the one shot is really long for a one shot. I would say I feel like it's more like a kind of a mini series. If I'm to be honest, I can see it being cut up into a mini series instead of a one shot. So I had sections, and I was like, I'm gonna do the first section. I'm gonna get it done by the end of September, and I have a full chapter I can give, because I felt like they would want more visual representation. I feel like I was the odd one out because there's only a few people I feel like who had like an incomplete like presentation. Most people in the group that I know had a full one shot created, like fully drawn and everything. There was only like 2 writers, I think, who were in my group at the time, and then me also, and then someone also was kind of like me, had a script in and like some pages. But I really didn't have much to what I was showing. I mostly had the script. That's what they were betting on. So I was like, all right, girl, let's show them like some skills that I have. Mind you, also, I've never, at the time, I was still a newbie to Clip Studio 2. So I had a learning curve, and I had a bunch of stuff to prepare. And the funny thing, though, a lot of stuff that I wanted to do, I didn't do until like the week before the event. And I also chopped down the one chapter that I was going to draw into just the prologue of the series, because that's like a lot to draw pages. Like, I would say that even though I got the pages out, like drawing a full chapter that's like at least 20 pages, I think, in a span of a month, I could have done, but I had a bunch of other stuff that I was doing in September too, so that didn't end up well. So, make my manga, prepare for the trip. I had to get business cards too, and I wanted to give stickers to the editors and people at the event, because, you know, a lot of people was going to be in person. So I had all that prepared, and it was funny. By October, I had forgotten that I had also scheduled to help out and do other like projects. Like, I just mentioned that I had an IdleCon thing I had to do. I started getting a bunch of commissions earlier in the month, and I also had a con for my mutual mocap that I was supposed to draw a cover for one of his comics. So I had a lot of stuff in the beginning of the month, and I was like, how the hell am I going to get all this stuff done in this month? But somehow I prevailed, and I finished everything by the end of the month. I successfully did. But let's actually talk about like the Kodansha House event. Like, what happened? What did I do? How did it go?
So October was approaching, and the way that the Kodansha House was set up, because I did mention the Kodansha House, right? There are 2 sets of groups that are going. So there was one on the 7th, and I believe there was one on the 14th, if I remember the dates correctly. So traveling there was kind of annoying, because I think I live around, I'm not going to say I live in New York, but I live in the tri-state area. So I was fine traveling in New York, but I had to take a train there and then, find a location. And I really wanted someone to go with me, because I wasn't comfortable traveling by myself. And then it was annoying, because I had to figure out, I was playing some things with some people, and then they're like, oh, I don't know. And then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna be ballsy and go in there by myself. And then that changed, and then I was like, my brother volunteered, because I told him about it. He's like, I don't feel comfortable with you traveling alone to New York. And I was like, hey, if you want to be my navigator, why not? So he decided to come with me, and that was fine. I was like, finally. The way that the event set up is that there are 2 types of, there's 2 groups who would go to Kodansha House for the event. There was a group on the 7th, and then there's a group on the 14th. I was the second group, so I had the privilege of knowing what was going on in that event. And I don't know, guys, like, I feel a little ungrateful, but I don't know what I was. I think at that time I was hyping myself up. I think I wanted a little bit more, because what I figured out from the event early on was that it was an editor's panel, which was great. People got feedback, and there was editing. You get the edit, and you get an editor's panel, and editor's panel is kind of like tells you how to make a manga. Fair, whatever, right? But I don't know. This whole event was the first. I forgot to mention that this is the first time Kodansha has done this event. So I was like, oh, they must be announcing something big, right? In the back of my head, I was hoping it was something bigger, something grander. But what I found out was that it was the Kodansha Academy that they had released. It's basically a website, and it says it's trying to help people learn how to make manga, and then I think later on they're gonna do contests for it. When I first heard of this thing, I initially thought, I hope it's not a contest. I hope it's not a contest. I hope it's not a contest, because I feel like the indie scene needs more than just contests right now. And I was like, I hope maybe they do something else. What if they fly? Like, I was thinking everything. I was like, what if they fly us Japan, and you know, we're sitting down, and it's kind of like a situation with silent manga where they like, you know, teach us directly or something like that, or give us the opportunity. I was thinking anything because I really was trying to hype myself up to be a little bit more happy about this event. But when I heard that they released another contest, I was like, maybe, I was still trying to be hopeful, bro. I was like, maybe at our event they will tell us something else. You know, I was really trying to hype myself up. I was really trying to be as positive as I could about this experience, because I really, 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 I was privileged enough to be invited to be sitting down with manga editors. I think that is something that not everyone got to do, because some people couldn't even go because they didn't live in the US. So I had to really be mindful that just because like it's not what it is, not what you wanted, still be grateful. So I did, but I would say, I'm saying this to say that I had a little bit of suspicions about what was going on before I went in, but I was like, I gotta stay positive, I gotta stay positive, I gotta stay positive, right? So the week comes by, I prep everything. Girl, and that week, by the way, was hectic as hell, because I had to do my hair. Like, I put on the best mug ever. I was like, I'm gonna go to those Japanese publishers and I'm gonna look fire, you know, I'm gonna travel there, I'll be on time. I was making sure that I had everything clear, everything prepped, everything prepared, so like when I got there that I wasn't scared. And I didn't feel unprofessional, right? Because I knew beforehand, before anyone else, like before groups, the seventh group did. So yeah. So yeah, me and my brother travel there. Mind you, my brother is a horrible he's not a horrible navigator, he's just annoying, bro. But we travel there on time, and we get there, and I don't feel anything while I'm traveling there, by the way. I'm still not feeling much. Like, there's no happiness, there's no sadness either, just this sense of like brain kind of just existing. It's like, okay. But I try to hype myself. I was like, girl, you're going there, you're gonna be manga, you're about to be this and that, and I can't believe that you're gonna be sitting down with an editor, like they're treating this like actual mangaka. Oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I was trying to hype myself up, but like my brain was kind of like la 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 la, right? Not feeling anything. We get to the train, we get to the Kodansha House, right? And I'm still like, I'm not feeling anything. And my brother's like, you're not nervous? I'm like, no. I get there, right? I see people, I see the people from the Mochikomi group that I was in, and I was like introducing myself. I was excited to see everyone. I was like, yay, oh my god, everyone's here, right? All of a sudden I start shaking, and I was shaking like this. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know I'd be this scared. I was telling I think Opal and Nunu about it. I was like, I didn't expect myself to be nervous. I thought I'd be fine, and they're like, yeah, we're nervous too, right? I started shaking. Let me back up for a bit though. The place is nice and small. It's kind of, I would describe it like a cozy cafe with but a manga store combined together. That's what Kodansha House looks like. And at the bottom, there's a basement, and it's also like this chill vibe area. You have like a little small arcade, and you can just sit and drink and, you know, read manga, right? And then there's like this room where the editors are, right? So everyone's sitting on the couch talking to each other, introducing each other, exchanging cards, and bro, I'm like shaking like a bitch. Like, I'm shaking so much. I'm telling my brother, oh my god. He's like, you said you weren't nervous. I was like, I don't know what's going on, right? We're all sitting there waiting for our names to be called, because we had different times scheduled for our editors session, I would say. And finally my name's called up, and girl, like, I was I was like shaking still. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, right? And I think me and Opal also were called up at the same time, so we both went there. So we were holding on to each other, walking towards the door where we were. And Opal goes straight to her, like, editor, right? Because when you went in there, it was kind of like you had tables and you had your name on it. And I was looking for my name. I was like, where's my name? Where's my name? I was like, I didn't see anything. So then I was like turning to the guy, and I was like, I don't see my name. And then I turned to the person who called my name. I was like, I didn't see my name. They're like, oh. And my editors and the translators are panicking. They're like, oh, we're sorry, right? And they flip my name around, and I sit, and the session starts. And so since I already knew some stuff about the sessions from the previous group, I had heard that there was different experiences for everyone. I want to acknowledge that because we all had different editors. But I got the gist from it is that you do need to prepare some questions because you will have time to ask certain questions about like what you need to improve on, whatever. But I heard from other people that they didn't even have that much time because they were going back and forth about like their story and stuff like that. So I assumed that it would be very I would say very, there'd be a lot more critiques about the comic itself or the manga itself. But yeah, you have like maybe 1 or 3 questions to ask at the end. But from my experience, the editor session itself was very brief. Very brief. It was like not that many minutes, and I don't remember how much. I think you have like a full hour, or is it an hour or 30? It's either hour or 30 minutes. I don't remember which one, but you have like at least a decent amount of time. But the majority of my session finished in, I would say, the first 30 or 20 minutes. I don't know. It was very brief is what I'm trying to describe. I don't know. But because of that, I had a ton of time to ask questions. And mind you, I'll be honest, I didn't prepare that many questions. I had enough questions that I thought like 3 questions would do. But not like a good 10 questions. I didn't have that on top of my head. I had like good 3, and I had suggestions from Shira, which was a part of our Mochikomi group, of certain questions to ask the editors, like very general questions. But I'll be honest, I had to come up with a lot more than I expected, and it kind of confused me because I was like, I thought we were going to go back and forth about the story, what I can improve on, stuff like that. The criticism that I received, though it's valid criticism, I would say, I don't think the criticism was direct enough, and I feel like it was very general, and can be applied to any manga that was sat down at that table. Any manga that was sat down at the table. At least that's how I felt. Now, I can't go into specifics of the criticism that I received, but I just want to let you know that I had an editor's Q&A afterwards where they sat down and told us like, oh, how to make a good manga. And the criticism that I received from that session literally was in the Q&A. So, I don't know. At the time, I was just happy to be there. But I sat back, and it's been like about a month now since the situation. I look back, and I'm feeling a little iffy about how things went. I also want to say, on the website, it was advertised that we would be getting our manga translated, like actually translated. The translations were through ChatGPT. And because of that, knowing how I wrote my manga, if anyone's read it, you know there's a lot of very vague ways things are written, or very poetic ways that the manga is written, to the point, because the way the manga is actually written is a very ambiguous, you gotta figure out the ending yourself kind of thing. So when I imagine it being put into a generator like that, I imagine some of that context would be missing. And I just want to make it clear. Let me check this. At one point, here's another indicator of why I feel like that was. My editor, well, I have 2 reasons. Basically, before this, I had 2 editors, and then I had like about 3 beta readers, if you want to count that, for the manga. And what I would do is ask them, okay, what is your interpretation of the ending? And they would give me like this really in-depth thing of what they think would happen. When I asked my editor for Kodansha House, they said it was scary. And I was like, okay, that's cool and all, but like I also wanted to hear like what he thought of the themes or whatever. What did you think? And I don't think he could come up with a reason. He'd also asked me too. He's like, oh, I can see that there's like a certain theme you're trying to write. There's like a theme to it. But he didn't say what he thought the theme was. He said, I see you're trying to write a theme. And I'm like, interesting. At the time, I thought that, oh, it's because maybe he didn't understand the theme. Now I'm like, did he not understand it because of the way it's written? Or was it because of the chat generator, the chat GPT? That was running in my mind because I was very confused. The last indicator was, they said at the ending, there's a flashback. Well, at the ending, there was a flashback. And it literally says, there's a flashback. Like, it's written in the quotes that this is a flashback. And they had asked me, I don't know what was going on in the end. Was there like a flashback? And I was like, well, it says there's flashback. What do you mean you don't know it's a flashback? It literally says it's a flashback. So a lot of raised my eyebrows, but I also wanted to be thankful with what I did receive, because I would say the criticism that I did receive is still valid criticism. It is still things that I have to think about. Like, in the end, I got manga specific criticism that, you know, when you make a manga, this is how it's structured a certain way so you can get as much retention from the audience as possible. But I didn't get questions that were based on the story itself. Nothing about who the characters are, nothing about what the setting is, nothing about the mystery behind things. Nothing was talked about that was my story. It was like, what it was just like, I feel like even as I was talking about questions, that's how I got the criticism. Like, oh, what do you think is the best? What do you think makes a good manga? And then you like hear something like that. But I wasn't like, this is what I thought about the story and what confused me. It was just like, overall, this is how we structure manga. And I don't know, like, when I went back and heard other people's criticism, where people literally got specific, people like, this is how I would change this, or this is how I'd make this part interesting. It was, I felt slighted, kind of. I felt like, why was my story not taken as seriously as the other ones? And then, here's another thing too. So I showed them my pages, and they're like, oh, I'm starting to understand, like, what you were trying to do in that scene now. Like, they're like, oh, I can now clearly see what was going on. Like, it wasn't because it was written in a script that's why the emotions that I was evoking wasn't being evoked. They were very positive and very happy when they saw my pages. They were impressed, basically. They're like, wow, you did this? They're like, it's very clean. And they're like, I was like, yeah. And they're like, how fast you did it? I said, like, in 10 days. They're like, wow. So I was happy about that, because I was like, for me, I have imposter syndrome, and, you know, I don't know, I really have imposter syndrome about making comics. I'm using in my head, I think that I'm not, like, I'm still a beginner at making things, but when I made those manga pages, like, I was pumping them out really fast, and I was just getting them done really fast. Like, I learned really quickly on the fly how to make the pages look really good, which I was proud of. So when they said that, I was happy about that. But as a person who is a stronger artist and weaker writer, I really need good direction with how to improve a story. At this point, that was like the third editor I had, technically fourth if I'm being honest, because I had a beta reader in between that. So it was kind of shocking, because I had other things to go off of, like criticism I had to go off of, and then their criticism, and I would have to be honest about this situation. Criticism was bare bone compared to the other two. Like, the other two had like much more valid like criticism, much more in-depth criticism about things that they want to improve or when they're not understanding, and this one was just like, yeah, this is usually how we make manga. And I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know, my brain was weirdly enough inspired after that session, but also confused about how I should feel, because it told me how to make manga and what they look for. Basically, how manga is written is, depending on the genre, you are trying to get as much retention from a reader as possible. It's very similar to how you would make a YouTube shorts or a video. Like, I guess that's storytelling if you want to be like that. But I wouldn't say that manga's like this. But like, you think about Mr. Beast video and how he's like, oh, I have to speak like this. You know, I have to speak like this so the kids can understand it. Or I have to make sure that this and this is shown in the first beginning of the scenes because kids are going to lose interest and stuff like that. They made it very clear throughout the entire event that manga is written in a way where they're trying to get as much emotional reaction out of the audience as possible. When you write a manga, you have to think about it. Like, they said this for like Shonen, for example. They're like, Shonen is kind of like a thrill ride. Like, you go up and down, up and down, up and down. Write it in a way where basically you think, how would a kid be excited about this? What would be excited? What would make a kid excited about this manga? Right? Oh, big fight scenes. Oh, you know, like character training, like all that stuff. The tropey you see in manga is there for a reason, because they see that it works. They see that's how people get attached to stuff really quickly. And I'm going to say this for the criticism I received. They wanted that to be more apparent in my work. Things to grab onto, for the audience to grab onto as quickly as possible so they can get as excited and know what's going on in the story. I would say that. And that's just generally just manga in general. Like, even in shoujo, the way that certain panels are drawn or scenes are there, they think about, okay, if this was a different genre, maybe the character would be a little bit far away. But if it's a shoujo, you want to get really emotional. You want the characters to be showing up really emotional. You want to see the emotion evoked in it. And I was inspired by that, because if you guys watch the videos, you guys have to watch the videos, you know that I'm from a marketing background. So split brain Kantan was like, that's pretty interesting. I was like, ooh, I like that. Because I thought it's interesting strategy and how every single part of manga is broken up in a way to make sure the audience is hooked onto it. But I would say, as an artist, that's why I had split brain. It's so structured in a way that my mind was like, where's the artistic integrity and expression in that, though? It's very maximized, almost like capitalism. It's capitalistic, kind of. Because I realized during that session and further on with the Q&A, manga is a product, not an art. Or I would say it's more of a product than art. I think there's still artistic qualities, and of course there's many manga out there that is art in itself. You cannot say it's not. But it's an industry, it's a product industry before it's a artistic industry. And when I realized what I was writing in Monster Within was not a product, it was an art. It was art. I was writing a story that was close to my heart. I was writing a story that, even the setup, I would say, was in a way from an artist. The way that the setting is even displayed in the story is from, hey, how can I challenge myself as an artist to write this thing? I'm not thinking, oh, is this what the audience wants? Is this going to get as much retention? I think that was behind me. I was more focused on, how do I get my voice, express my voice in a certain way? How do I write this certain scenario a certain way? Like, I was experimenting, going through the motions with this story, and in the end, I'm not gonna say, I don't know, you guys, it's up to you guys to read it, because I still feel like I'm gonna write it similarly to the way that it was written before the Kodansha House thing, because at this point, it's a passion project. It's not even just like something to test my manga skills on. It's generally a passion project that I created. And it's up to you to see how you guys feel about it. Because it is, yeah, it's written more in an artistic lens, even down to the story itself. I would say, I can spoil this, it's a very ambiguous story. It's a story where you as the reader have to figure out what happened in the end. It's not a story where it's written like, this happened, it's not easy to consume. I would say it's something you have to think about, really sit on and think about, and understand what the context was trying to say. Which, I don't know, for a first project, I kind of was insane to do that, but I did, because that's how I think. That's how I am as a person, as an artist. I love to challenge myself and explore different things, and it was something uniquely me, and I'm still proud of that. I told myself too before I went to the event, I was like, Kantan, if you really sit down, let's say you get like a really bad criticism, how would you feel about it? Like, most of the time I really am hard on myself about what I create, but I was like, okay, did it accomplish everything that you wanted to do? And I said yes. So you should be happy by that, even if the criticism is bad. And I'll be honest though, the criticism wasn't even bad enough. It was just very bare bone kind of like, okay, all right, cool. But I feel like even in that session, I feel like I was discussing more about what I should do next than actually the product that I created. And I had told them it took me a year, and they're like, don't do that. Just write it. They're like, just make a storyboard and write through the storyboard. Don't even write a script, they said to me. But I was mixed by it. I really was mixed by it, because, I don't know, I was frustrated that, and okay, so let me just say that all this emotion that I've had that I'm talking about now, I had the process through the rest of that month and now, how I truly felt about the session. And it made me kind of sad, I'll be honest, after the whole thing, because I'll be honest, I talked to people afterwards, and they got way more detail about their work, and we got editor's notes afterwards. So we get emails in the mail about more condensed notes on the session itself, and sometimes they even add a little bit more. I'm seeing people get a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of things written out of what they thought of their work. For me, I got one sentence that was from a template, and it was like, hey, I hope that when you draw it, it's more interesting. And I was like, and someone else had the same editor as me, and they also got like a template message. We saw each other's, and it was a template and a little bit of changes. So I don't know, was I just disrespected low-key? I don't know. I honestly don't know how to feel. Like, for me, I felt a little sad by it because I was just like, damn, I really wanted to be taken more seriously. And I don't know what to make of it because I'm also grateful that I was invited and I'm grateful that I went out and I'm grateful that I got the criticism that I did receive from it. So it's like I'm split in the mind on how I feel because as a person who used to look up to this industry, I expect a little bit better, you know? Like I've criticized edited stuff for people before, and I put a lot of detail into my edits and making sure that people understand. I give suggestions on it. How is the professional editor not giving me like that same kind of treatment? I literally, guys, had like identity crisis, low key, because I think it established to me that manga is a very business oriented industry, and we've seen the treatment of how the industry treats their artists, and we've seen the frustration of some mangaka with their editors and stuff. It made me realize that, first of all, I really don't want to be in this industry because even though I have a marketer's brain too, I think I value art way more than I do for capitalistic game, you know? And I'm not saying either one is wrong. I think for me, as a person who is a recovering perfectionist, I can't see myself being in an industry like that. Here's another thing too, I forgot to mention, that's why I'm saying this, that, I mean, after our session, we went to the Q&A, and they had basically explained, they're like, okay, to be a mangaka, you know, you gotta keep submitting to several contests, and maybe you have this really small percentage of being seen. And if you are a foreign mangaka, that percentage is even smaller than the average that you get in Japan. And also, they're like, some of us editors don't even get paid if our manga is not successful. I'm like, that's not good either. Like, I raised my eyebrow a little bit at the whole thing. I was like, so you're telling me that I had to keep submitting, chasing approval from a manga publishing company, and then maybe I'll get the chance. Not even, because even when you get the chance, let's say that you made it past all that struggle, you'll be submitted to a magazine, and you still have to fight to make sure your manga stays in that magazine. As a recovering perfectionist, does that sound healthy to me? No. Because knowing myself, knowing how I chase the bag with things, I will slowly lose myself in the process of trying to meet the approval of others. As well, see. So I can see myself trying to post these magazines, change things up. And eventually I will see myself lose my voice, and I see myself stressing so much about not getting seen in Japan or whatever. That's me. I'm just saying that's me because I just know myself. So I'm like, do I really want to chase the bag or be seen in Japan? And I was like, I don't think so. I think right now, I'm not the best writer. I'm not the best artist. And I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with being in an in-between state where I am just exploring and writing for the fun of it. And maybe if I get successful off of that, that's okay. But I don't think I have such a solid idea of what it is to be a mangaka yet, or what I want to do going forward with my work like other people may have. I think the most important thing to me right now is finding my voice within the art form itself and being able to express that to people more than trying to fit into a structured way that, you know, these publishers have wanted their manga to be. And like I said, it's not even a criticism, because if you look at any publishing industry, it's the same way. Even those shitty romance novels that you read, they are written in a way so that they can get the max retention. I also learned recently that I read a lot of Korean novels, and the reason why I get addicted to them is because they're written in a way to keep the retention of the reader. They're almost like fast food, you know? The manhwa that you read, fast food. So yeah. Also, I wanted to say, I'm not going to be too hard on myself about this either, because even with these publishers having that structure, trends change all the time, and something that may be written now that they don't approve of might be the next big thing in a couple of years, and they start writing manga like that. So I'm like, do I really need a publisher to guide me in that way, or should I just find my voice right now and just do my stuff, do my thing? And my answer in the end was do my thing, because bro, like, I don't think I really care enough, like a lot of people, about like meeting that expectation from manga publisher. It just kind of broke me, because I don't know, between the editor session itself and then realizing how much manga is kind of stuck in this like product building way, or the way that it's produced is very like almost cold. I wouldn't say it's cold. Let me stop saying that, because it's like not. Like, people can find some people make the best art in restriction. For me, I make the best art in exploring, I think. For me, it's like not just restriction, it's exploring that gets me some of the best art pieces that people have seen from me. It's not that, but that's what I'm saying. It's not really a criticism of manga industry. It's just like me noticing that I don't think that it works for me. I don't think that I want to be put in a position like that where I'm always chasing someone's expectations. Yeah, so overall, I would say for the Kodansha thing, everyone was sweet. You know, I had a okay time. Looking back now, I'm kind of sad by some things, and I think, I was saying, I don't know if they cut myself out, but I was saying that I'm also disappointed because I had gone on my way to go there to the city to meet a manga professional. And in my head, I think a lot of times that I think industries know better about me than myself, you know? I think I place a lot of trust in people of higher standards or higher hierarchy than me, or what I perceive as a higher hierarchy than me, but we're all just people, man. And I keep learning that lesson time after time again, because I will put a lot of trust into a lot of people who say they know better, and then I find out that they're kind of like, I can see the flaws in certain things that they do. In this situation, I'm expecting an editor to sit down and break down my manga, because I'm like expecting that's what editors do. My bad. Not everyone edits that way. That's what I learned. And also, you can't always expect people to care about the stuff that you care about. And I think that slapped me in the face, because I don't know, when you're a kid, you know, you think of all these things, you think people are going to treat it as of such quality, but if they don't care about your work, they're not going to care about criticizing it in a certain way. Or maybe the dude was tired. The dude had other manga to edit too, but that was the sense that I got. But yeah, I am okay with that, though. I think now that I've gone through the motions of it, like everything else I've said, I think right now in my artist journey, it is not about chasing approval. It is not about, you know, getting as much social media numbers as I can, even though that'd be nice. You know, if I do get it, I'm not complaining. My art is about finding my own voice, figuring out what I like and don't like, and creating something that is long lasting, that sticks with people. Even if I don't take this route of the manga publishing world, I might change that, by the way. I might change my mind in the future. I don't know yet. Right now, I'm feeling that way, where I don't walk that path. I'm fine with it, because I know that eventually I get to a point where I do make something good. But I can do that without gatekeepers, man. I don't need no gatekeepers coming in telling me what to do. I think I learn best when I explore. And that was a conclusion that I had. Overall, like I said, I respect the criticism that I was given, because I still feel like it's valid, and I can find balance in that. I can still take that criticism and apply it somewhere else, because I still think that the retention of a reader is important, but I also value more of the artistic expression. Sometimes people make weird stuff, and I want to be one of those weird people. But yeah, so yeah, the thing ended, you know, I had my we had an editor's Q&A like at 9 o'clock or something. Bro, by that point, I had been dragged around the city because my brother wanted food, and I was so tired. Like, we literally almost went to Times Square because he was dragging me around throughout the entire city, and we got Cuban sandwiches. So when I came back into that like place after I left to go eat something, my makeup was smudged, I was tired, I sat through that Q&A listening, writing notes, and by the end of it, I was the first one to go. Because I was like, I need to go, I'm so tired, bro. So I took a train and went home. And ever since then, I've been just recovering from the trip and everything. And of course, I had my drop. Yeah, I feel like that's all I have to say about the situation. I don't know if I was clear about it. I had like so many thoughts about it, but that's what it really comes down to. I value my creative voice over retention of readers. And maybe that's me being a selfish artist, but you know what? That's my story. That's my life, bro. But I hope I was a little bit clear. I think I was rambling towards the end, but yeah. Anyway, if you guys also want to read The Monster Within, I have a PDF version of the prologue up on my Ko-fi, and so yeah, if you want to read that, it's down below in the link below. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. It's been a minute. I really feel like a lot has just happened in my life, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I was given to in October, and I have a different outlook a lot on how I create my art since this year. Like, I feel like I want to make a 2025 video, retrospect video about like what I've learned this year, because I've learned so much and done so much, and I'm just shocked that I did that. I'm also grateful for Kodansha. I just want to say I'm grateful for Kodansha for inviting me out. Like, even though I have some criticisms, I am thankful that I got the opportunity to do that in the first place, because not a lot of people did. And like I said, even if you don't like certain things that happened, you got to be grateful for what was given. And I am grateful for what is given, because it opened up my eyes to a lot of things, and it also has helped me understand the way certain mangas were in, and it's now a different perspective that I didn't have going without being there. So I'm grateful. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm rambling. By the way, it's literally 5:42 a.m. in the morning, because I've been trying to get this video out, but I really had to process all those feelings. Thank you. Love you all. Also, thank you I love everyone whom I met that day. Thank you. You guys are amazing. I've met so many different people. I'm so grateful for that as well. Like, I met so many different people at the Kodansha event I'm still talking to now. I'm thankful. Thank you. I love you guys. All right, I'm gonna shut up. Bye.